Oh yeah, Ray, Tawanda, thank you, Ms. Guru. Um, everybody, I think just to break a little bit of ice, where all this comes from is after high school, I went to do a hotel management diploma in Swaziland, where I stayed with Uncle Ranga. From there, I worked in the hospitality industry and branched further into the diplomatic industry. And from there, I went into the disability industry. From there, I went into business. From there, I ended up in broke and bounced back, and now I'm in the horse racing industry where I'm rubbing shoulders with the elite. So basically, I've been quite exposed to what Ray has alluded to, the lifestyles of the behavior and observing how people behave in this kind of settings. Etiquette, basic etiquette in short. These are some of the things that we sometimes take for granted in many ways, and we get shocked when people behave inappropriately, or we get rebuffed or taken to be aloof in certain circumstances where we're thinking we belong or we're thinking we're doing the right thing. Culture plays a role, exposure plays a role. In most cases, people would just not know the basics. For example, people might not even know how to behave when they are confronted with a buffet. Some call it a buffet. People pronounce things differently, languages differ. So I'm sure you're quite familiar with that, where you might find some people might find it very comfortable because they know everything there, the settings, or they can follow, and things like that. So, in short, it is very important when you have when you have got to a certain level in life to accept you don't know, because you cannot know everything, and familiarize yourself with the do's and don'ts in any situation, be it in church, at home, at work, in the office, in social settings, and so forth. And by so saying, it means you need to know how to fit in without standing out in a way that you are looking stupid or doing the wrong things or just going with the flow, and by so doing not enhancing your character, whether you're in business trying to market yourself and trying to be relevant. Because sometimes what happens is people, sometimes before you open your mouth, they can even judge you from how your appearance, your handshake, and things like that. So to start with, I'm going to just break it into the obvious things that maybe come from home. Charity begins at home. Thank you. You must be always you must know when to say thank you. You must always say thank you. When someone gives you a compliment, always be nice and say something nice. And the best response, say thank you. Give genuine compliments and respond to compliments. Going back to my experience in the hospitality industry and diplomatic settings, there's basic etiquette, as in, for example, are you familiar with your cutlery? What goes? You're not going to eat your dessert with your fork, or when do you use a certain piece of cutlery to eat certain foods, or how certain foods get eaten, and when do you get to sit down, when you arrive, and when do you get to take a position, and things like that. For example, let's say I invite you to a dinner to my house, or to a restaurant, a formal place. Remember, in most settings, the person who has invited you has gone to the place, did arrangements, and has already told maybe the waiters who is going to sit where and who drinks what. So imagine you just rock up there and you start sitting at the wrong place. You're going to mess up a whole lot of things. So it's always advisable to wait to be told where to sit. Ladies first, you pull a chair, and the older people, seniority, you honor ladies, then you honor um, seniority, seniors to sit first, you offer. Then while you're looking at the host, he will give you signals where to sit, nod, and things like that. And then you feel comfortable than just to, carry on and just do things the way you think you see fit. And at the end of the day, you end up receiving maybe wrong drinks, or you end up sitting where maybe the Mr. Party, who is coming later, was supposed to sit, and everything gets pear-shaped or pear-shaped. Pardon my pronunciation. So you gotta be very, very careful when you are in these kind of settings. It's not high society as per se. It's not elite as in money. It could be, for example, you get invited for a job interview, you go for an interview, the interview is done, and you get taken out for lunch. You could still lose the job from misbehaving or behaving inappropriately in those kind of settings, which could start from maybe you rushing to sit where you're not supposed to sit, or the famous one of starting to put salt in food that you haven't even tasted, as if you are the chef when the chef knows exactly what he did, instead of testing your food first and observing how people are doing. You can still go and eat and put as much salt as you want at your house. Remember that. Because you are in settings where these people, usually when people are entertaining, they're not entertaining because they are hungry. They even have fridges for their dogs, cats, pets, and you name it. And when they eat privately, they eat very well. And here is its behavioral systems to try and accommodate each other, and to try and see whether you fit in. And I will repeat that famous one where these HR people would say, for example, the guy started adding salt in his food before everybody because he thinks he knows everything, because he's going to get here and think it's his way and he knows better and what have you. But anyway, going back to the main issue on the etiquette, I think the first thing is grooming. You got to look the part. You got to look good, dress appropriately, smell good. You don't have to look expensive. Look clean, smell clean, use your roll on, brush your teeth, brush your hair, look okay. I'm sure you're quite aware that usually it's the poor that try to look Gucci and everything. Your Zuckerbergs and what have you, they're always even wearing their black techies with their suit, and it disappears into the look, and they look okay in that. So you don't look too flamboyant in settings. Look okay so that you're not overboard. You don't have to take the glory. It's not for you to stand out and be the center of attention, where people just think that you have become the bee in the hornet in the settings. You gotta fit in and dress appropriately. A good example is, for example, you can't go to the zoo wearing a suit. You wear your safaris, your gear that suits the occasion. Google, investigate. If you're going to watch a tennis game, dress appropriately in sports gear. You look good. Whether you're supporting your child, whether you are a guest, dress appropriately. Appropriately, look like you're going to play the sport, even though you're not playing. But it's going to make people want to talk to you, want to relate to you, wants to involve you. And even if it's a child they've gone to watch playing sport, they feel mommy, daddy, uncle is with me. We in this together. These are the unspoken language. It's simply etiquette, which means you're fitting in, right? Then going back to grooming, I think it's a very, very important thing that depending on, in most cases, where we come from, and culture, as I've said, I'll repeat culture. Culture, people tend to confuse culture with tradition and other things. Culture is not static. Remember, things that used to happen 1,000 years or 100 years ago are not happening today. What is happening today, tomorrow is going to be the culture where people have the culture of using cell phones, doing what we're doing right now, and. But traditions, values, and norms, that's something else.